I think this succession planning topic is somewhat familiar, not much familiar, but you might have heard about this. Okay, so can anybody tell me what, according to you, is succession planning? Because some of them would be working, I mean, most of them would be working professionals, so you might be aware about this particular concept, right? Succession planning, what it means. Can anyone? According to your knowledge. Can anyone explain it to me? Or what, according to you, is succession planning? The name itself suggests us something. What it is? Succession. Succession planning means what? You are planning for something. About what? You have any idea?
Leadership.
Leadership. It's not about leadership, but still could I try? Anybody? Okay. So succession planning, before I start, I will just give you a short, brief, introduction about the topic. Succession planning is all about someone. Just for example, I'm telling you, if there is someone person who is like, somebody a key managerial position, say for example, CEO in the sense, he must be leaving the organization all of a sudden. Okay, he must be leaving the organization without any notice, without any previous information, without updating any information. Okay, if some of the positions is being fall vacant without any notice and all, the organization have to move on, right? The organization have to move on. So what will the organization do? Someone have to be replaced to that position, right? So when a high key managerial position, whether it be a manager, a top level management position, say for example, CEO, managers, if those particular positions fall vacant, the organization have to plan so that that particular position is taken up by someone else. Okay, someone else have to be replaced with that particular position. That particular, that process of planning to keep, that process of planning to take up the position of the high managerial position, that particular process is known as succession planning. Okay, so that was a quick introduction. We'll see in detail, more in detail in the coming slides and all. Okay, so at the end of the session or after successful completion of the session, you will be having an idea regarding what succession planning is, what is the importance of succession planning, and how we can implement this succession planning. In the sense, what are the different ways of succession planning, then what is the different steps or process in succession planning, and there is a specific term known as career planning. So what is the difference between this career planning and succession planning? So these are the different topics that we are going to cover during this session. Okay, so we'll quickly start the session. We'll start with the introductory part, succession planning. Succession planning, it is the process.
Excuse me, can I have a question just before you begin?
Yeah, sure.
Succession planning is a part of management, or is a part of?
It's a part of management. Of course, it's a part of management, human resource management.
Okay, HR. Okay, thank you. Go on. Continue.
So succession planning, to be specific, it is a process whereby an organization ensures that employees are recruited and developed to fill key role within the company. So there are different positions that falls vacant. Okay, we have no idea when it will fall vacant. Maybe some of the organization employees working in the organization, if they get some other opportunities, they'll definitely go with that, right? So all of a sudden, what an organization can do if a particular position falls vacant. Okay, so that is what we are, that is an area where we have to deal with. So that particular process, the process where an organization makes a plan so that the employees are recruited to fill that particular role, and that is known as succession planning. So succession by people from the opportunities, that within provides opportunities to the employees for the progress in their career. Okay, so mostly the succession planning is basically done when all of a sudden there are n number of employees working in the organization, right? I mean, there are different categories, hierarchical positions is there, lower level employees, middle level employees, and higher level employees. Now, what happened? All of a sudden, if a manager resigns from the organization, manager might be a leader. Manager might be a leader to many subordinates. So these subordinates are actually doing what the managers is asking them to do. Okay, so all of a sudden, if this particular employee, the like manager or any other positions handling employees leave the organization have to continue, right? The organization have to do something so that they continue with smooth manner. Okay, they cannot disrupt their intra-production, they cannot disrupt their response, all the other activities that is being taking place. So the organization have to do something, right? So that's what we are talking about, the succession planning. So succession by the people from within provides the opportunities to employees for progress in their careers. So which means the organization have different ways of filling that vacancy. Either the organization can go with the internal employees. Internal employees means those who are working in the organization itself. So you can give a particular employee and a promotion in the sense, if you find that this particular employee is capable of taking up his position. Okay, so then an organization can choose any of the employees and promote them to this particular place. Okay, so that is an option. Or else the organization can completely go for the freshers or hiring the person completely from outside source. So that depends upon the organization. That's completely upon the discretion of the management. Okay, so succession planning is the process whereby an organization ensures that employees are recruited and developed to fill key role within the company. Okay. Then, the purpose of succession planning is to identify, develop, and make the people ready to occupy higher level jobs as and when they fall vacant. Higher level jobs fall vacant due to various reasons. So there might be various reasons. These employees might be leaving the organization for n number of reasons. It can be maybe due to some other opportunities that he have received. Maybe he might have passed away, or he might have gone to some other branches and all. So even if these things happen, the organization have to find some way to to continue this process, to continue the activity. They cannot delay anything. They cannot delay the production just because an employee left the organization. So they have to do something. And the planning that an organization does is known as succession planning. Okay. Now, let's see what is the significance, what is the need of an organization. Just a second. I'm sorry for. Yeah. The need for succession planning. So why the organization needs succession planning? There might be different reasons for that. So what is the need? What is the importance, or what are the significance of this succession planning? First thing is, it ensures business continuity. That's what we are talking about. The organization have to continue. The organization or the management, the activities running in the organization, the production running in the organization, everything have to continue forever. Okay, they cannot just stop it, everything. They cannot stop the activity just because some employees or managers have left the organization. So this succession planning, the proper implementation of succession planning, can help the business in continuity. Okay, the organization will not exist. Organization cannot exit. Organization cannot stop their production or any activity just because this particular position is vacant. So this planning helps in or ensures in business continuity. Second one, it develops the potential employees. Employees in the sense that you have to decide who is the next successor, who can be the next possible successor. So if you are planning to take up any internal employees, say for example, a manager, for example, a person, he feels that organization feels that, yes, this particular manager is capable of taking up his position. So what is the next thing you have to do? Give him the training, because he is going to take up an additional responsibility. He is going to be promoted to a particular position, right? So when he is being promoted, you in the sense, the organization have to give them proper training. Okay, proper training to be given to the next successor, so that he improves his strength, he overcomes all his weakness, he understands what he have to do, what all the additional responsibility, what all additional roles he have to take up. Okay, so it prepares him for various duties. It prepares himself, that particular employee can be prepared so that he does everything very smoothly. So it develops the potential employees. The third one is it identifies next successor. So this process helps to identify who is the next successor in advance. Normally, most of the organization, what they do is that they will decide, they will ask the manager to decide, choose who is the best employee, who is considered as the best employee in the organization. So if you have some backup like that, you can easily take up that particular employee to this position. Okay, so identification of the successor is very important. You have to choose this right successor. It's not the case that you have to make sure that this employee is capable of doing this. Only then give them the authority to do that. Okay, so it helps the identification of the successors in advance, help the organization to plan for the future. Okay, so organization, it talks all about planning. Like I used to say, planning means what? You are deciding in advance what is to be done in the next moment. See, everything is uncertain. You cannot expect a particular employee to work with your organization for a long period of time. If he gets some other opportunities, definitely some of them might leave your organization even without the notice, right? So what you have to do? Planning is essential. Planning is an important and essential function in an organization. So doing a planning in advance is very essential, so that it helps the organization to plan for the future. So identification of the successor in advance is very important, so that will help the organization for future planning. Every organization have to invest in identifying next successor of the organization. Then the fourth in importance is smooth functioning. This succession planning helps in smooth functioning. The organization have to function very smoothly without any disruption, right? So there is a supply of competent and skilled employees to take up the role or responsibility of key manager. So it is not necessary that always the organization have to go with the internal employees. If the management feels that no internal employees is capable of taking up this position, so if that is a situation, they can definitely go and hire a fresh employee from external sources. So they can do a direct recruitment. Okay, so it is not essential that every organization have to go with the internal employees. It's up to the discretion of the management. They can decide whether to move with the internal employees or whether to go with the external sources. Okay, so it helps in smooth functioning of the organization. Then it reduces the cost. How is it reducing? How it helps in reducing the cost? With succession planning, the demand for HR is met within the organization. So if you're planning to develop, or if you're planning to place an internal employee to that particular position, it actually saves a lot of cost. Lot of cost in the sense, the cost of conducting an interview for a new employee, the cost of training them, the cost of paying additional salary to that new employees. So these things can be saved. The cost of providing more initial induction training programs can be reduced to an extent. But this is not the case of all. If an employee, if the organization finds very essential to go with the external sources, they have to go with that. But on the other hand, if they have already a backup, like if they already have different internal employees with them, they can definitely go with that. Okay, so if that is a situation, it helps in reducing a number of costs within the organization. Okay, then developing career paths. Succession planning will help the HR department to set up career advancement plans for the competent employees. See, I am capable, if the organization accepts that I'm capable of taking up his position. So what happens? You are actually developing, you are having a growth, you are putting to a new, you are being promoted to a new position. That will make an employee motivated, self-motivated. Yes, I am considered a valuable employee in an organization. Every single employee is working in the organization has value. See, we used to say human resource. Human resource means a human being which is considered as a valuable asset. Resource is something that has value, right? So every human being is considered as a valuable asset. But these employees must understand that they are considered as a valuable asset. So if I am being promoted, if I get a chance to take up that position, I'll be self-motivated, I'll be having a high profile. So that will make you to work hard, that will make you more committed towards your job. So there are different cases. Okay. Is there any problem with my connection? I mean, you people can hear me. Am I audible?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
there is no problem.
Yes, ma'am. We are audible. Yes, ma'am.
We can hear.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so it helps in developing career paths. It also helps in selecting suitable employee for specific job roles. Okay, now finally, corporate image. What is the image, reputation of the company? Organization invest in identifying and grooming the employees. In the sense, you have to impart some training. You have to definitely spend at least some resources to give training to the employees. Okay, it also provides varied growth opportunities within the organization. This will help in increasing job satisfaction, increase in performance of the employee, at the same time increase in productivity. So like I said before, self-motivation is happening. Along with that, an employee will feel satisfied. Rest of the employees might get an assumption. I mean, they will get an idea that, yeah, yes, tomorrow if I start working hard, definitely next time I will get a chance. So if an organization have such type of a plan, every employee is working in the organization, what happens is that every employee is working in the organization will feel that if I work hard, definitely the next day I will get a chance of being promoted. Okay, so definitely employees will have a positive attitude towards the organization. That will help in building image and reputation of the organization. Okay, so these are some of the importance of succession planning. Now, as I said, there are different ways an organization can decide whether to choose internal employees or whether to go with the external parties. Now, what is internal employees means? Employees who are working within the organization and they are being given opportunity to take up that position. External parties means inflow of new blood into the organization. A fresh blood is being introduced into the organization. The internal employees, when we hire an internal employee, it helps in promoting the internal employees. The internal employees are being promoted to a new position. Professionally run organization ask their managers to identify the internal employees who have the potential and develop them in order to occupy their position as and when they fall vacant. So most of the organization will ask the managers to choose who is the best employees under you. So a particular manager or a superior will be having n number of subordinates. So when a superior works with these subordinates, the superior will have an idea who is performing the best and who is performing who is the different employees who performs best in the organization. So normally some of the organization will ask the managers to identify those employees who have potential to be promoted to a higher position. So what happens? Employees get benefits of growth. They can grow themselves. They can grow with the organization. All the employees are demanding the same. I want to grow. I want to be in a high position. Okay, so it helps the employees in growing. The organization mostly prefers to encourage the growth and development of its employees, and as such tend to prefer succession from within. So normally, if the organization have an idea, I mean, they have a concept of succession planning, all the employees working with within the organization will be motivated, like I said before. They will be showing much more commitment or much more dedication towards their job. So they will work hard in such a way that next time if such things happens, I can get a chance. So they are being internally, the employees are being motivated themselves. So this is a case of internal employees, when the organization go with the internal. And now when the organization understood that, I mean, when the organization feels that there is no skilled or competent people to take up this role, so you cannot give a chance just by seeing whether he is capable of doing this or not. So if a management or organization does not have a competent people within the organization, they will search for those from outside. So organization should also search for outside talent in certain cases. When competent internal people are not available, there are no people within the organization who is capable of taking up this position, or when major expansion or diversification and growth plans are planned, which means if you are deciding to expand, if you're deciding to diversify into some more areas, if you're deciding to expand or grow yourself, there are many expansion is being made, means you are in need of n number of employees. So you can definitely go for the external parties. So it's not necessary that organization have to stick on to the internal employees, but if they have no other option, they can definitely go to external parties. So complete dependence on either internal source or external source is not advisable. So what you have to do, a judicial balance between these two sources. If there is an option, they can go with the internal employees, and if there is no other option, they can go with the external parties. So you should not stick on to one particular extreme, but there should be a balance between both. You have to give a chance or opportunity to the internal employees. At the same time, you have to see whether you get some more competent people into the organization. So a balance between these two sources should be maintained. Okay, so these are the two different ways of planning successors. Then, what are the three elements of succession planning? Basically, the three elements is known as, the first one, the position. Which position is which position is being vacant. Second one, you have to identify who is the next successor. Third one, grooming of successor, giving them normal training, whatever training they want. Okay, so grooming the a successor is very important. You have to make them understand what are the things they have to do. So first one, which is the position for which successors are needed? So determine the positions for which successors are needed. Some organizations prepare succession plan for key positions which play strategic role in the organization. Okay, so if sometimes there are positions that are separated from the top management, they are known as strategic management group. So the organization, first of all, they have to identify, yes, this particular position is going to be vacant from next month onwards. So what you have to do, you have to do something in advance, right? So understand which is the position that falls vacant, what are the roles and responsibilities that particular position was handling, what are the additional responsibilities that you have wanted to implement. So everything have to be identified first of all. Second one, once you understood this particular position is being fall vacant, the second thing, who is going to be the next successor? So identify the successors is very essential. The second element of succession planning is the identification of successor. Determination of the successors for different positions that are likely to fall vacant in future. It's not necessary that the succession planning happens when only the employees without any notice they leave the organization. But there are situations when the employees, even after giving a 2 months or 1 month notice period, they leave the organization. maybe because of many reasons. Maybe they might have received some other opportunity. Maybe they might have any health issues, so they cannot continue in the organization for long. Maybe they might have passed away. So there are different reasons for succession planning. Okay, so you have to make everything in advance. Depending on the organizational practice, such successors may be organization within the organization or from the outside. Like I said, if there are two ways of identifying the successor, it can be from within the organization or it can be from the outside source. Now, the third one is grooming of successors. When the successors are identified by key positions, you need to give them training. So they are to be fully equipped to take the positions earmarked when these fall vacant. So it's very essential that if an internal employee or if any person who comes from outside is being placed to that particular position, make sure that you provide them adequate training. You provide them all training so that he performs that particular position very neatly. Okay, so giving them training, imparting the information towards that particular employee is very essential. That is necessary, a step an organization have to take. So training the successors is very essential. So these are the three elements of succession planning. First of all, you have to identify which is the position that is where a successor is needed. Second one, who is the next successor? Third one, giving proper training to those. Okay, now let's see what are the steps involved in succession planning. The first step is planning. So planning, like I said, it is something that you prepare in advance. You wanted to prepare in advance. You're doing something to be done in advance, that what is to be done in the next moment. Okay, so first of all, you plan them, analysis. Second one, identification of talent pools. We'll see one by one in detail. Let's see what are the different steps involved in succession planning. First one, planning. Then you conduct an analysis. You identify which is the talent pools. Then you develop the planning and finally implement this succession plan. So the first one is planning. Develop a strategic plan that will provide a blueprint of how the succession plan is to be implemented. So you have to make a plan before you do something. It's not that you have to all of a sudden you go and do this. So before doing anything, whether it be the succession planning, whether it be the planning with regards to the production, marketing, sales, whatever you are going to do, just make a plan before you implement that. The long-term vision, mission, and goals of the organization are identified, and the current personal policies and procedures are studied. So the vision, mission, and goals of the organization. What is the difference between this vision and mission? Can anyone tell me? You are commonly, you frequently see this. This is the mission of the organization. This is the vision of the organization. What is the actual difference between this vision and mission?
Mission that involves internally, vision that's externally.
External in the sense? External in the sense, what do you mean?
That's long to explain.
That's long to explain. Okay, do anyone have any other answers?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Can I explain?
Yeah, sure.
Vision is the set goal, like where you want to go, and the mission is the element which will drive you towards the goal.
Mission is the?
No, vision is your goal. What is your desired destination? And mission is the what you can say, elements which will help you to reach over there.
Yes, that is the interesting answer. See, vision means what? You are looking towards the future. What do you want to be in future? That is vision. Mission means what you're actually doing. See, my organization wants to serve the customer. My organization wants to serve the customers through selling the products or whatever, reach the products towards to the employees, to the customers, to the customers. So what you're actually doing. Vision means I want to be this person, or my organization have to be a trusted company in the world. So that is a vision. Vision is always focused on future. It's not that we are serving this. That is not a fusion. Sorry, that is not a vision. Vision is always targeted towards the future. Mission means you are serving. What is the nature of your organization? I want to serve these customers. I want to serve the customers through online. I want to serve the customers through direct marketing, and I have to focus on this one. So what you're actually doing, that is a mission. Vision means in future, what organization, where the organization want to reach. I want to be the most trusted company in this world. I want to be an most customer centric organization in the world. So that is a vision. That is a basic difference. Vision is something focused on future. Mission is something that is a short term, like not a short term to be specific, but still we can say what you're actually doing. Okay, so every organization, irrespective of all the nature, irrespective of the size, they might be having a vision, a mission, a goal, objectives, whatever it might be. So even if you go towards any website channel, you can see a particular a place where you can see the mission, vision of all that particular organization. Right? So whatever it might be, what you have to do is that what is the vision, what is the mission, what all the organization's objectives are, they are to be identified, and the current personal policies and procedures are to be studied. So you have to identify which is the current person, who are working there. What are the different policies? Accordingly, you have to plan which successor can take up this position. So before you do something, make sure you plan that. Second one, analysis. In this step, the various challenges the company is likely to face in the future, and the skills and competencies the CEO would need to meet them are analyzed. So you are doing something, you are making a critical analysis or assessing for what? The various challenges the company would be likely to face in the future. See, I am going to place this employee to this position. What would be the after effect? What happens if this employee does not perform well? So you have to identify everything. Okay, so efforts should be made to determine the knowledge, talents, skills, and capabilities that would be required in the organization in the future. So you have to make some effort to identify what all knowledge, what all skills, what all capabilities are required to be placed, in the employees to be placed in that particular position. So once you plan them, make sure you analyze each. The third one is identification of talent pools. The competencies and skill levels of the current workers need to be assessed in order to identify the available pool of talent. So pool of talent in the sense we means to say who else is capable of taking up this position. Maybe a particular manager would be having a 10 subordinates. All the 10 subordinates are efficiently working, but you cannot place all the 10 subordinates to that position, right? You have to choose one. So what you have to do, analyze each employee's level of competency they have, level of taking up the responsibility, and identify identify a pool of talents, a pool of employees, a group of employees where you can choose one among them. Okay, for that, what you have to do, conduct performance analysis technique. I think we have conducted a session about the performance analysis techniques and all. There are different performance appraisal techniques being used by the organization to identify what is the level of performance of the employee, how well the employees are performing within the organization. So to identify the capability, to identify the level of performance of the employees, normally an organization used to conduct different techniques, appraisal techniques. So when you are doing succession planning, you can choose performance appraisal techniques to identify the performance of different employees. Accordingly, you can land up to a particular employee. Okay, so you can identify who is necessary, who is well to take up that position. So identify the talent pools. You're not sticking on to one employee, but there might be a pool of employees, a group of employees in the organization who will be capable of taking up that position. But still you have to choose only one. Okay, so identification of the talent pools is the third step. The fourth one is development planning. After the gaps have been identified, the next steps involve creating development plans. The employee's progress, it's very important. You have to identify what is the progress of employees, how he was in previous year, and how is he performing now. So they have to be monitored. So when you monitor that, you will be able to identify whether he will be good if he's been placed to that position. The duration of development plan would depend upon the succession plan strategy of the organization. So you have to understand that there are a lot of techniques of effort that have to be taken from the side of the organization before implementing a succession plan, right? So you have to make sure that all the employees' progress, all the employees' performance is continuously monitored, constantly monitored. So that will help the organization to come up, land up to a best position, or land up to a right successor. So development planning is again important. And the last stage is implementing. What you're supposed to do, succession planning. What you're supposed to do, that is, you have to really implement. The succession plan should be linked to HR process like compensation, recruitment, performance planning, workforce planning, etc. Compare the progress of succession plan with the upcoming personal requirements of the organization so that a capable employee is available to fill a prestigious post. So the organization have to understand that the chance of succession plan is always, you cannot predict in advance. You cannot predict everything. Like I said before, every single activity is uncertain. Every single event is uncertain. You can never expect that tomorrow we will be making different plans, but you cannot expect that everything goes smoothly, right? There are different disruptions, so there are different things that can come across you. Okay, so planning is very essential. So once you do a proper planning, you can make sure that if at all anything happens in between, you have a backup or you have an idea what to do. So you compare the progress of the succession plan with the upcoming personal requirements. So if the same situation happens in future, what you can do. So you have to do everything. You have to create a backup plan always, especially when it comes to organization. Business is very uncertain. You cannot expect. Business consists of a risk in the sense n number of risk would be there. You can definitely classify them into two type of risk, systematic and unsystematic. Systematic is something that cannot be predicted. A natural disaster happens. A government changes the policy. Government implements a new policy that have some effect on business. Definitely you have nothing to do with that. On the other hand, unsystematic means that is something within the control of the business. Say for example, you're having a shortage of a raw material. You're not getting enough raw materials from the suppliers. Okay, that is again it's something you can do something so that you may this particular risk can be avoided. So there are n number of that an organization faces. All the risk, you cannot completely avoid that risk, but you have to do something to minimize the risk that can happen in the organization. Okay, so this is the fifth stage, that is implementing. First one was planning. First of all, you have to plan what you have to do, how the succession planning is to be done. Then you analyze everything. You make an effort to determine what are the different knowledge, what are the different skills a particular employee needs to have. Then you identify if there is any talent pools within your organization. A group of employees, and among that group of employees, you have to land up to a single person, right? Then finally fourth stage is development planning, and finally implementing the succession planning. See, like you can see in this picture, there is a head of employee is there at the head of the, a top level employee is there, and that top level employee, there is a middle level employee. Middle level 3 employees are supposed to be there. Each of the 3 employees is having different subordinates. So what happens when employee B all of a sudden leave the organization? That particular position is vacant. These subordinates do not have any idea what to do, because they are supposed to do all the instructions that is being received by their superior. So if the superior all of a sudden leave the organization, there is nothing they can do. So the organization have to make a plan so that a particular employee is being placed to that. So he can choose among the employees who is working. I mean, they can choose among different subordinates. If she is capable of taking up the position, she can definitely be promoted to that particular place. So it's up to the decision of the management. If a management feels that she is capable of taking up that position, so you can definitely go. Okay, so this is just an example to have an idea. Then, what are the different challenges the organization might be facing? The first one is the size of the organization. The employees with the potential and desire to advance their career may move to a larger organization. See, if the organization, if it's a very small organization, what they can do, if they are getting a good opportunity, they will definitely go for that, because they will be offered a high salary, they will be offered a different incentives. So definitely these employees can move to some other opportunities. So the size of the organization plays a very important role. Second one, lack of financial resources. Employees may just leave the organization for better salaries and benefits offered. So if an employee is being offered a huge salary than what they are getting now, some of the employees will definitely leave the organization, because they can work, they take too much of work with less salary. So that will make some frustration in their mind. So they are constantly seeking for some other opportunities. So they will definitely go if they are being offered a different or huge salaries by some other competing organization. Plan without promotional avenues. A plan that does not promote people in time, leading the potential successors to leave the organization to seek new opportunities. So a plan that does not promote. So if you are not giving any sort of promotion to their employees, what happens? The employees will have an idea. The employees would be having this thing in their mind. Whatever I work, I mean, how much work effort I put into this organization, I'm not going to get any promotion. I'm not going to get any hike in the salary. So this mentality will make an employee leave the organization all of a sudden. Okay, so planning is very essential. So make sure that an organization treat the employees equally, treat the employees in such a way that the employees feel happy to work with them. Attrition. Staffs come and go and may not be seen to be a part of the talent pool available to the organizer. See, there is a chance that all the employees, since they are not getting any incentives, since they are not being treated as a valuable employee, they will just leave the organization. So employees turnover is very common nowadays. So this employee turnover can be one of the other challenges. Then inadequate training. This results in an employee getting promoted but is not prepared for a higher job. You simply place a subordinate to that particular position without paying the high salary. Okay, you are giving them additional work, but you are not paying them enough. And also you are not giving enough training to that particular employee. So that superior or that particular employee will have no idea what they have to do. They have no idea what else do I have to do, what all the responsibility that I have to take. So inadequate training and development, if an organization do not provide any training, that is definitely going to be another challenge. So these are some of the challenges of the succession plan. So now the last topic is career planning. So it somewhat sounds similar, career planning and succession planning, but these two are quite different. Career planning means what? It talks about an individual. What is my career? I want to reach this position. I work for 2-3 years, then I take up some other high position. And then after 10 to 15 years, I get a managerial position. I want to reach this level. So this is particularly within, I mean, an individual is planning something, that is career planning. So this is viewed as a systematic process through which an individual sets a goal. An individual will be having a goal in his mind and formulate the strategy. So this is a continuous self-evaluation and a planning process done by a person. So I am doing this, which is aligned with one's career goals, aspirations, and skills. The career planning consists of charts representing the possible career paths for different categories of employees. In career planning, one person hold various positions. I'll be the customer service representative one day, and after few years I'll be taking a higher position, and after few years I'll be taking even a managerial position in future. So I'll be handling n number of positions in my career. Okay, so towards the end of it I'll be reaching a high position. That was my dream. So career planning will help to get success in one's career. So you are planning for yourself. That is career planning. Succession planning, on the other hand, it is done by an organization. That is completely different. That is a sort of planning where an organization does to fill the position of the key role. Key role in the sense, it can be the position of a CEO, it can be the position of a manager, it can be the position of a general body, whatever it can be. So it is a planning that is done by the organization to fill the key role in the organization as soon as that falls vacant. So that is different from career planning. Career planning is you do something for yourself. How do you plan yourself? In your work life, I'm talking about not your personal, but about the career. I want to reach this position. So you do everything, you hard work. You completely be dedicated. You do everything so that you reach a high position in future. That is your aspect. So that is something with regard to your individual basis. Succession planning is done by the organization. So that is a basic difference between the career planning and succession planning. Clear? So for this session, we have covered what do you mean by succession planning. I think you might have got an idea about what succession planning is. So what all the organization can do, what are the common ways of doing a succession planning. Succession planning can be done in different ways. What are the different ways? Then what are the different challenges being faced by the succession planning by the organization? What is the difference between career planning and succession planning? So the basic difference between the career and succession planning is very important. You have to understand what is the difference between this career and succession planning. Okay, now I have listed here some few references where these are just the online ebooks where you can refer with any topics with regards to human resource management. So you can get in the PDF format where all the details, including the subtopics is being included in this particular links and all. So this is a common where you can just use as a reference paper. Okay, so that's it for today's session. Now you can just come up with your thoughts, or if you have any doubts, you can just come up with your doubts and all.